Hey, what do you got?
Yeah, I just want to say God exists because evil people like you exist.
Oh, really? So, first of all, that's a non sequitur. Just because evil people exist doesn't mean God exists. But more importantly, how am I evil to?
Oh, just the messages that you put out, you ridicule people who have faith in God, who are religious.
I don't ridicule people. I ridicule faith. And faith to me is useless. It actually doesn't do anything useful for society. If anything, it just gets us war. And that's why I don't like faith.
Well, it's because you
So
don't understand
I,
faith.
I care about what's true about reality. I care about truth. And faith doesn't get you there in any reliable fashion. So, do you have evidence for God, or do you just continue having hopeful
Yeah,
wishes when it
you could
won't?
go to Google Images and Google image a search of Vishnu, Vishnu, and you'll get multiple stone deities that were carved thousands of years ago, along with all the pastimes and all the inscriptions on the temples. I mean, you have thousands of Hindus, you have tens of billions of
Okay, okay,
Muslims.
I understand. I understand that there were Hindus before, but I'm asking you for evidence of God, not carvings.
Well, you have the Bible, you have the Quran, you have the Buddhist
Okay.
teachings.
So how
You
is the
have
Bible?
basically have liberating scriptures for every walk of life.
Okay, great. So how is the Bible evidence of a God? It's just a book, right?
Yeah, because it's before the internet, people used to write things down in books about things that happened. And we're in the year 2023. Why are we in the year 2023?
It's just a calendar date. It's something we made up, right? I'm
Oh,
asking.
oh,
I'm
okay. So
asking
you
for
come
evidence of
on
a
the
God.
scene 2,000 years after the birth of Christ in 0 BC and
That's
claim
just
you know something
okay.
about anything?
So the date that we designate is arbitrary, right? What are we like? It's just a number, right? We made up numbers. They're not real. There's no law of nature that says that it's 2023. That's ridiculous. It's completely relative.
No,
I'm
you're pretty
asking.
late on this scene to come up here with your big grand assumptions. And we have all these churches with thousands of
Okay.
old
Okay, great. So
architecture,
how
beautiful
do you know?
architecture, pews,
Okay, great,
pastors,
great,
all
great,
these
great.
devotional activities in the atmosphere.
Okay,
And then
okay,
you come along, you're like, "Oh, it's all not real. Prove it, prove me this, prove me
okay,
that." No.
okay, great.
Like you know something about anything.
So how do you know that these things are true and coordinate to God?
Because people are faithful, because they're convicted. You
Okay,
have convicted Christians, you have convicted
okay.
Muslims,
If
you have
I'm
convicted Hindus.
Okay, if I'm convicted in Spaghetti Monster, does that mean Spaghetti Monster is real?
Well, show me the Bible is spaghetti monster. Show me the church is spaghetti monster.
Right here,
Show me all the
right,
convicted,
right here.
devout
I got a
followers
book.
of spaghetti
I,
monster. You
it's
don't
right
have it.
here. It's right here.
Yeah,
I got a
and
book,
if I read it, it's going to be incoherent nonsense.
just like
It's
your
just
Bible,
going to be full of incoherent nonsense.
just like your
There's no
Bible.
Bible, there's no church,
Okay,
there's
sir,
nothing to go along with your thing.
sir, do you recognize that the Bible is nonsense? Talking snakes, talking donkeys, Adam and Eve, Noah's Ark, these things never happened, right? The Bible is literally nonsense. So do you have evidence that the Bible is
No,
true?
there's literally things that you just can't understand. You don't understand aphorism, you don't understand metaphor,
Okay,
you
sir,
don't
do
understand
you have evidence?
story.
Okay, great. How do we?
You don't have the intelligence to understand. All you have the intelligence of demonic activity.
Okay, great,
Just to
great.
be a
So
big
how do you
rascal,
know?
a
Okay,
big
great. So
demon, sit up
okay,
here,
great,
collect
great.
your coins, and just
I had enough of that.
Hi, how's it going?
What do you got?
I'm a polytheist and I'm a secularist, so I'm not really on the bandwagon of trying to convince people that my imaginary friends are real. But
So
I just kind of,
what's the evidence you got?
um, I'd like to say that as a polytheist, a lot of my beliefs are based on experience and gnosis. Um,
Okay, how do you know that your experiences are real and mean God exists? How do you do that?
well, the, in my practices, we have stuff like divination, so like
I don't
tarot
get it. I
cards,
don't really care. I
pendulums.
don't really care, sir. I don't care. How do you know that these things correlate to reality? How do you know that there's some truth to this tarot card reading? How do you know this?
Well, it's matched up, and I mean, I guess you could chalk it to coincidence, but enough
Yeah,
coincidences
that's the
that
problem. That's the
there's too
problem, right?
many to too many
Yeah,
coincidences
that's the
to
problem. That's the
chalk
problem.
it up to that.
That's the
Yeah.
problem. Too many coincidences is bad, right? Because if you can't tell the difference between God and coincidence, you have nothing to know. You have nothing. You have nowhere to go with this. You have an empty assertion. So, do you have any actual evidence that gives credence towards a God, or no?
Well, the evidence wouldn't be able to be proved in a physical way.
I need somebody with a higher IQ here. What do we got?
Stop shoving stuff in places, please. Golly. What's up, Mike? I just hit my toe. All right. I got a question for you. So last time we talked, you said you're a hard determinist, right? Correct?
Yeah. What's your evidence of God now?
You are my evidence, right? So here's an example.
Oh, that's so
I
cute.
want to. No, I just want to like expose you for like the inconsistencies that you hold to. So you're a hard determinist that said, and I quote, "Why won't it let me pop up?" There we go. Is it not going through? There we go. So, and I quote, "Good and evil don't exist." Those were your exact words, correct?
They don't exist on any objective or normative basis.
How so?
They're subjective, right? They're
Okay.
just our preferences as to what we don't like is bad, what we do like is good. That's it.
Right, and your preference is they don't exist.
No,
Because
that's no.
you said from your hold on real
When we
quick.
take a look at meta, so when we look at meta ethics, right? My meta ethics says that there is no objectivity when it comes to what's right or wrong. There are no moral facts. I'm an anti-moral realist, which means that I don't think there's any true propositions about morality. I think it's all preferences as to how we want to live with each other, and that's it. Now, what's your evidence that there is objective?
So for you, it's all BS, right?
What?
For you, good and evil is all BS.
No, it's not BS. What I'm saying, you're not understanding, right? What I'm saying is that what we call evil and good are subjective in nature. They're not real entities that exist normatively speaking. They're
You don't
just
live that way, though.
subjective preferences.
You don't live that way, though.
I do.
So that's the inconsistency that I'm trying to point out.
I do
You
live that
live
way.
as if they're real because you hung me up because I had an appalling position, right? And so you like just kicked me off of here. But at the same time, it's not objectively a real thing. So you see the
Yeah,
inconsistency there.
no. So what I did there was an internal critique, right? I pointed out verses in the Bible that you would even say are bad, right? Like the Bible allows rape, the Bible allows murder. And of course, any Christian would say those are bad, but your God allows it in the Bible. And that's why I did that for you. I showed you the inconsistencies in your morality. There is no morality for Christians.
So
Demands.
So you're forget the critique of the Bible. I'm trying to show you that you are inconsistent in your worldview, and you keep trying to flip it and like switch it back, right? Deflect it back to me. You cannot sit here and say that you hold to a moral code while said at the exact same time saying it's not real. That's nonsense.
I can.
Yes,
Why
you
can't
are.
I? Why
There's
can't
no
I have? Hold
objective
on.
truth.
Hold on. Why can't I have opinions about what's right or wrong without it being objective?
Because my answer would be so what? So what about your opinions? Who cares?
Yeah, that's what morality means. We compare and contrast our moral systems, and when we live in a society together, right? When we live together, you and me,
I disagree.
we hash it out as to what's the best thing for us as a society. That's why we change. That's why we have changed in terms of morality over the years. And back then, slavery was legal. It was morally acceptable. Now we know it's wrong, right? That's evidence that morality changes.
No, that's not. That's not. And I disagree with you. You're sitting here, you're stepping into the Christian worldview, using Christian moral ethics, an objective standard, and then trying to deny that the standard exists. You either need to accept that there's an objective standard to these moral truths, or my response to every time you get upset like you did the other day is, so what? So what if Hitler did what he did? Who cares?
No, I care, right? I care.
What?
That's the point of morality that you don't understand.
Hitler didn't care.
Subjective agents. We
Okay.
care. That's why we do things we do.
Fine. There's your claim. That's your claim, right?
This isn't very hard to get, right?
No. So that's fine. That's your claim. However, Mike, Hitler believed the opposite. So who are you
Okay,
in your
he was
subjective
wrong.
view
He
to
was
tell
wrong to me.
him how?
I'm a moral
How is it
agent.
wrong?
I'm a person with
It's not
a
objective,
logical
Mike.
brain.
Your subjective view doesn't.
Listen. I am a person with a logical and empathetic brain who is able to survey their surroundings and observe the behaviors that you act upon towards others. And I can see that someone like Hitler caused harm to others. He did all those terrible things, and I can look at that and say that was bad to me, and the rest of us sane people can do the same. And that's all you need for morality.
No,
I
Mike.
don't need an
Mike, I
objective.
disagree.
I don't
Listen to
need
me.
an objective morality to have it. You
I
don't have
disagree, Mike.
objectivity either.
No, Mike. Hold
You
on.
have
Hold
no
on.
objective
Hold
morality.
on. Hold on. I disagree. Because at the end of the day, your subjective stance proves nothing. You're just, according to Neil, hold on. I let you speak.
Too.
I let you speak. And you want proof for God's existence here?
No, you have to listen. You're not letting me speak. Okay. You're talking, but you're muted. You don't have objectivity.
And I've been sitting here this whole time.
If your claim is that I don't have objectivity, that is not an issue for anybody. It's just something you're not comfortable with. That's the problem. Theists know there's no logical contradiction in a moral framework as such as mine. You just don't like it. You just don't like it. That's the only reason why you have a quarrel here. In actuality, I am logically consistent. Now, you made a very peculiar claim today, and you said that I have objective morality because I'm a Christian. So demonstrate that.
No, we're not deflecting. Hold on. You haven't let me rebuttal.
That God's morality is objective.
Mike, let me respond. You made a bunch of statements, and now I'm going to respond. We're not going to deflect back to Christianity because you're scared, and you know the truth.
Scared of what?
That you don't have a standard. You just made a bunch of statements.
Yes, I do. I have a standard.
It's called
It's my golden rule.
It's my turn, Mike. It's my turn.
Subjective morality.
Mike, it's my turn. You just made claims with no justification. There is no, if you do not have an objective moral standard, what Schmittler did, you cannot hold him accountable for.
Yes, I can.
Hold on. You said you can be empathetic and understand and rationalize that he was hurting people, and that's how you have a moral system.
Yep,
However,
hold
on. Who cares if we're just material, according to you? Hold on.
I care.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, right, says that we're just.
I care. No, you're not listening. Right? I care.
Why would you care if you're a material
person
thing?
with a brain and a consciousness? I care. That's all you need.
No,
your God doesn't care because guess what? Your God sits there and lets Hitler do these terrible things and does nothing to stop it. Whereas I would stop it. That's the difference between me and your pathetic God. I would stop these bad people. Your God lets it happen. That's not morality.
Mike, quit deflecting. I'm asking you a question. You're not answering. What is the justification for you caring? Why do you care?
I have a consciousness. I have a consciousness, and I have a brain. Maybe you don't.
Let me have a moment to just elaborate. Who cares in a material universe?
I care. Listen.
That's my point. That it's.
Let me explain to you. Let me explain something to you.
You are inconsistent, Mike. You shouldn't care.
I'm not inconsistent. Let me explain to you. Okay. It doesn't matter that I'm made of matter. I understand I'm made of particles. I understand in a naturalistic worldview where we're just matter in motion. I understand that we're made of atoms. That is obvious to all of us. But the problem is that you think that just because the medium in which we are made of, we can't have morality because morality can't emerge from these particles. That's your problem. The problem is you don't understand how the brain operates and how physics can yield these emergent properties of minds and consciousness. That's the problem you don't understand. Morality can be purely grounded in a naturalistic view. You don't need God. You definitely don't need your God. You don't need objectivity, period. So, for the last time, show me the contradiction in a subjectivist framework or give me evidence of an objective morality. Go.
You don't have justification. That's the problem.
I do.
You're not giving justification. You're making claims. Give me a second. You should not care. How does an irrational universe give rise to rational beings and then in the process you caring about stardust harming other stardust? Why do you care if matter is hurting other matter? You
Because
shouldn't.
this matter
Because it's
can produce,
inconsistent
because
for
this
you
matter,
to have
this
such a
matter,
position.
I just explained to you, this matter can yield brains and consciousness and moral agents such as we.
No,
These particles
making
were
a claim. There's no just.
These particles were configured in certain ways under a naturalistic view can
Give me a
yield
justification
these
for that.
emergent properties of consciousness, which allow us the tools to understand what is good and bad. You don't need anything further. You definitely don't need God.
Yes, you do, Mike, and
Why?
you know it.
Why do you need God?
And I
Why
don't
do you
even
need
care.
God?
I don't
Why,
care about bringing you to the Christian God, because
why
obviously
do
you
we
have
need
some
God? Why
contentions
do we
about
need
that.
God? Why do
Hold
we
on,
need God?
hold
to
on, hold on.
remember?
I'll give you an example. I don't care about bringing you to the Christian God because you obviously hate him for some reason, right? But at least
I don't
bringing
hate
you to
things that don't
deism, or at
exist.
least making you a theist and
I
making you
don't hate things that
consistent.
don't
Hold on,
exist.
man. Let me talk. Are you actually interested in engaging in conversation, or do you just want to mute me every
You're not
time I get an
engaging in my
opportunity
you're
to
not
talk?
engaging in my conversation here.
So I popped in and gave you the question, and you decided to respond.
I answered
Now
it. You just
I'm
don't understand.
cross-examining you.
Okay, you don't understand the answer. That's the problem. I have a subjective justification for my morality.
And it does not. There is no justification for your
Yes, it
subjective
is a
stance.
justification. It's subjective justification.
No, Mike, it's
Why not? Why
inconsistent because
not?
it's
Why not?
inconsistent, Mike. That's why. It's
Where is it?
nonsense,
Where is the
Mike. It
inconsistency?
is
Where's
nonsense because you
where?
don't believe it in reality. You
I
proved that to
do.
me
I
the other
have
day when hold
morality.
on, Mike.
No, no,
Calm
no, no,
down.
no. Listen. We're not going to do this. You're not going to scream back and forth. You're going to give the argument in syllogism form that shows us that I don't have morality. So give the logical syllogism where the conclusion follows from the premises that demonstrates I don't have morality. Can you do that? Can you do that logical syllogism for us? Go.
All right, Mike. My point in all of this is to show you that you're not consistent in
No.
your
Where is the inconsistency?
the way you acted the other day. You don't actually care.
I do
You
care.
no, you
Why do you
don't.
think I'm here? Why do you
Okay,
think I'm here
then be
debating fools
consistent.
like
Be
you?
consistent. Then be
Why
consistent.
do you think I'm here on this live debating fools like you? I'm trying to show people how ridiculous theism is, how ridiculous it is that you come up to my live without any logic, no fucking arguments. I ask you questions, you can't answer them in any logical way. That's the problem. You think you have an argument, but you don't. Morality can be subjective. I don't need objectivity. You have yet to show why I need that, let alone the fact that you haven't shown you have objective morality. Just because God exists doesn't mean you have objectivity.
Sure, I'll give you.
So either give the logical argument or go away because you're wasting our time at this moment.
So here's how, under the Christian framework, under the Christian worldview, why it is objectively wrong to hurt people, because we're made in the image and likeness of God, and we have intrinsic value. We have inherent value. Hold on, but you don't have that. You have nothing. You have no reason. You have. Can I talk for 1 second and actually give an answer?
Listen.
No, you listen.
Listen.
Yeah, you don't want to engage in conversation.
Where do you get value
You're
from?
a fraud. You're a liar and a fraud.
Yeah, where do you get value from?
You're a liar and a fraud. I get it from God.
Okay, and where does God get his value from?
He doesn't have to. It's from his nature.
Oh,
from his very nature. God's mind doesn't create his character. Okay. His character is from his nature.
Okay, great.
That's the problem. You don't understand the Christian God.
Sir, why is there value in God's nature?
What?
Why does God's nature have value?
Because God has nothing that he is contingent upon, and in his very nature, there are attributes about his character that give value to everything that we see. That there is a moral code within him.
No, stop begging the question.
No, I'm giving you our answer.
Value, sir. Where does God's value come from?
From himself. It's in his nature.
Oh, so value can come from things that are my own. They can come from me. Value can come from me.
When you can create yourself, Mike, then
value can come from me.
When you can create yourself, Mike, good. Unlike God, who is uncreated,
I can emanate with value. I can make value on my own terms. I don't need to get it from God. I can make it myself.
No, you can't. Because the moment you do, it's inconsistent. Here's how you can't. Because when Schmittler did what he did and he thinks he's right, you can't tell him he's wrong.
Yes, I
because it's
can.
subjective. No, you
I can
can't.
say, I can claim he's wrong. That's what I'm doing.
And what does that do? That does
Yeah.
nothing. Under the Christian worldview, however, I can say that Schmittler was objectively wrong.
Why? Why was he wrong objectively?
Because he was harming people who are made in the image and likeness of God. And because
Why
they're
is
made in
that-
the
why
image
is
and
that
likeness
wrong?
of God,
Why is
they
it
have
wrong?
intrinsic value.
Why is that wrong?
Give me your justification for why it's wrong.
No. Listen.
I've given you a
You're not
justification for
understanding.
mine.
Listen.
I've given you a justification for mine. Give me yours.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So when you say that it's wrong objectively because we're made in God's image, first of all, that's irrelevant. But more importantly, why is it wrong that it's bad to harm somebody in God's image? Why is that wrong? And then you're going to say, well, God has value. And I just showed you that God makes his own value. It's just subjective. That's the point. God's value is subjective, just like mine. There's no difference between your God and me.
No, Mike, you misunderstand the Christian God. It doesn't come from his mind as yours does.
Then where does it
His
come
moral
from? Then where does it
code,
come from?
his
Where
moral
does God's
code
value come from?
from his nature. That's different than his mind.
Okay, great. So why is there value in
Your
God's
nature doesn't
Why
produce
is
a
there
moral
value?
code
Why is there value in God's nature?
because God is not contingent on anything. He is who he is. He's unmade. He is just being.
Why does that make it valuable?
Well, he's the creator of this universe, right? So everything in this creation
why
is
does it make it valuable?
hold on, is subject to him, nothing else. You
Exactly.
in your
It's
mind
subjective.
creates
It's
your
subjective.
moral code, right? Your mind makes your moral code.
You've just conceded that God's value is subjective.
No, I'm not. It's not subjective
Yes,
because
it
it's coming
is.
from his nature, not his mind. There's a separation.
What about God's nature is valuable?
He's God. He's being.
That's begging. You're just circular there, right? He's God. I can say that for me.
There's
Why
no
can't I say that for me?
there's no
Why
reason to
can't I-
question
Oh
the
my
answer,
gosh!
bud.
Listen, please listen, sir. If you're saying that God gets value from himself, why can't I get my value from myself? Why is that wrong when I do it, but when your God does it, it's perfectly fine? Why can't I say that my nature gives me value? Why can't I do that?
All right. For actual discussion's sake, I'm going to slow this down. I'll answer the question, and you can question again. The answer is because he's not created, you are. He is just being. From his very nature, these things are.
I'm not created either.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. I'm not created,
You're not contingent on anything. I can give you proof that you're contingent.
Contingency is irrelevant. You said I'm created.
It's absolutely contingent. Math itself, which is an absolute, is contingent on creation itself.
No,
everything is contingent except God.
No. Why? Well, first of all, the universe can be necessary. You don't need a God at all.
Prove that. You're
That's
making
like-
a claim.
that's
Give me a
like
justification that that's true, that the universe, which is contingent, can just.
Listen, I said the universe could be necessary, right? Just like you said, God could be necessary.
No, because
you
the-
have yet to prove God.
Actually, no, the answer is no, because everything that we can observe within the universe is contingent on something else, including mathematical law.
Yeah, you're begging the question there, right? The universe could be necessary.
No, it can't.
Why not?
Because it's contingent on other things.
That's
and
begging,
within
that's
itself,
begging,
it's
that's begging the
contingent on other
question.
things.
You're begging the question.
The
Why
universe
can't the
itself-
universe? Sir, can you stop being so anxious and listen for once? Where's the logical contradiction in a necessary universe?
It's not. It has contingencies. It is contingent on other
Where's
things.
that's not what I asked you. Where's the logical contradiction in a necessary universe?
There isn't one. Not that there's no contradiction. That it isn't necessary is what I'm saying.
Then you can see that the universe is possibly necessary.
Huh?
Then you can see that the universe is necessary, possibly.
No, the universe is not necessary.
Prove it.
Really, Mike?
Yeah, you asked me to prove it, and that's why this is a dumb question, right? Because I don't need to prove it. It's a logical possibility.
Okay, so let's go back. All right, before you start deflecting, show me how you can live a life under your moral framework under subjective relativism, or I think you're a materialist, right? What are you? A nihilist?
I'm a person. Now, can you please give the question so I can answer it so you can go away?
Sure, Mike. How can you continue to live a life in a life where you are constantly inconsistent, doing things like this because you care, and when in reality you shouldn't care?
Why not? Why can't I care
Why
without a
would you
God?
care?
Why does a God need to exist for me to care about other people? If you think that I need a God to care for others, that is sad. That is so sad to me.
No, you
That you
do.
need
You
a
do.
magic dictator to tell you what to do because you can't establish morality on your own terms. You can't
No,
use
Mike,
your
you do.
brain. That is so
You
sad to me that you can't use your brain. But guess who can? I can use my brain. And I can understand that people are hurting out there. And I can help them without, regardless if God exists or not. God is irrelevant to morality.
If that's true, Mike, right? What is a brain then?
It's true.
Hold on.
So
If
you
that,
just conceded.
hold
You
on.
just conceded.
No. If that's true, Mike, what is a brain? Is it not just fire, like chemicals firing in your
A
brain?
brain is a
neurons?
mechanism. It's a biological mechanism that allows us to establish consciousness and awareness of our surroundings.
And that gives rational and
Yes.
immaterial like ideas of logic, which are absolute. You're able to just fathom those, and you can trust. You can even trust that your own rationalism is correct. Correct?
Yes, based on verifying my thoughts by testing them.
Oh, really? Right. And you can trust that your tests are correct, and you can trust that your rationalization to do the test correctly
the
is correct.
continuous process of a science, right? It's a methodology
You're
where we
inconsistent.
continuously test and verify the results we get. And science is not absolute. You're not absolute for sure, but we can get to truth based on our understandings of what really happens around us and to the best of our ability. That's all we can do. And adding God to the equation does nothing for you.
Are you sure, Mike?
Yes, I'm very sure about that. Because
Are
you
you
have
absolutely
to
sure?
show logic that shows otherwise.
You sure, Mike?
Yes, because you have yet to show logic that shows otherwise.
Yeah, I'm showing you that because of there being a mind outside of the universe, that things like logic and rationality make sense. And without him, you cannot come to a conclusion that things like, I don't know, the law of induction, that things will happen like the past, happen like the future would actually occur. You can't trust that.
Why not?
Huh?
Why not? Why does adding God allow you to
Because
trust them
you
better?
need God in order for that to occur. Right?
Why?
You need a mind outside of the universe, something
Why?
that is immaterial for an irrational universe to give rise to a rational mind. You're made in the image and likeness
Let me
of God.
explain why. Let me explain why this is incorrect.
Your
So
rationality comes from God, Mike.
it comes from the brain, and we know this because we can observe the brain and the brain patterns we have, and we understand that the brain is the mind is an emergent property of the brain, right? The interactions in neurochemistry in the mind, in the brain, is what establishes a sense of consciousness, awareness, and rationality and logic. Logic is simply a mere description of reality. It is not immaterial because thoughts are physical, immaterial. They come from the brain. There is no such thing as an immaterial as far as I can see. But more importantly, we can ground logic. We can ground all these things in reality and by using our minds to describe it.
That's circular, Mike.
How is it circular?
The brain gives me an ability to do something, and then I can rationalize it with the things around me. So the material world can give me an ability to observe the things inside my material brain. I'm sorry. No,
Yes,
man.
sir.
No. An irrational universe does not give rise
Where's the
to
contradiction?
irrational universes do not give rise to rational beings. You're made in the image of
Why
God.
not? Why not? Why not? Why not?
Because what do you mean, why not?
Why not? Where's the
How do you
contradiction?
go from being a fish, evolving over time, into the rational being?
Oh, so now you don't understand evolution. Okay, so it's not that we come from fish. It's that we share common ancestry. And by the way, fish have brains just like we do. They have neural networks just as we do. And that's what allows almost every single animal to have a sense of rationality. So the idea that you don't understand evolution is not only sad, but also hindrance to your argument. Because if you need evolution, if your argument hinges on the notion that evolution is false, you have a very bad argument.
No, Mike, that's not
Okay,
my
great.
point.
So then you agree that whether or not evolution is true, your argument still is moot?
No, so Mike, I'm trying to show you that this idea that you can base everything off of your own rationalism, right? Your own ability to rationalize is going to give rise to the inconsistency. For example, how can you care if one thing of protoplasm or stardust is hurting another protoplasm of stardust, right? Why do you care what Schmittler did?
So listen. So when I say I care about something, what that means is that my brain is responding. Can you listen to me? Okay. So when I say I care for something, it means my brain is responding to my surroundings, my external world, right? Dopamine, serotonin, all these oxytocins, all these chemicals are being released in our brain and telling me to care for others. This is something we evolved to do.
No, Mike.
And if you don't understand this, go learn some science. But
No. Go
unfortunately,
ahead.
your
Go ahead and
argument has
explain.
no
Go ahead and
bearing
explain to
on
me
the
the
fact
science
that
why you actually. Hold on. Go ahead and explain to me the science of why you caring actually matters. Who? Okay, you care. Cool. But why does it actually matter?
because we make it matter. Because when we live in societies together collectively and we care for others, our tribe survives better. Our lives become better when we care for each other.
You say that, but and we'll keep using Schmittler as an example. He thought otherwise. So how can you hold him accountable?
That's
No,
why we
Mike,
went
hold
to
on.
destroy him. That's why we went to destroy him.
No,
Because
we
the
did
rest
that.
of us were saying
Well,
he
that's
was
assuming that
insane.
God doesn't exist, that you can make that claim. But because God exists and because we know that human beings are made in the image and likeness of God, they
Okay,
have
so how about
intrinsic
this? How
value.
about this then? How about this? We have two worlds, world A and world B. In world A, God doesn't exist and Hitler exists. In world B, God doesn't exist and Hitler exists. In the
Wait, you
world
just said
that
the same. You just said A and B the same.
God
I
does
got you. I got you. I got you. I got you.
yeah, the point is that God does exist in one, it doesn't exist in the other. In the world where God doesn't exist, is Hitler still bad to you?
In the world where God doesn't exist, Hitler couldn't be defined as bad because there'd be no objective standard.
So you don't think that Hitler would be bad in that world where God doesn't exist?
You made that claim yourself. There's only subjective reality.
Wait a
You made
minute,
that
sir.
claim.
Wait a minute. Would you say that Hitler was bad? Yes or no? It's a yes or no question.
Well, God exists, so Hitler's bad. Yes.
No. What if in the world where God doesn't exist, would Hitler be bad?
It would be
Yes or no?
subjective relativism, and it would just be my opinion versus his.
Yes, exactly. So you can't have morality without God.
No, that's my
Yes,
point.
you can't have morality
That's my
without
point.
God.
There's no underlying judgment or justice being
We
done
don't
for
need
Hitler in that
underlying
world.
judgment. Why do we
There's
need
no
that? Why do
justice
we
in your
need that?
worldview,
Why do we
Mike.
need that? Why do we need that?
Why do we need justice? Not holding
No.
people accountable for their
No.
wrongdoings?
No. Why do we need some objective justice in the world? Why?
Okay, let's work through that. Schmittler does what he does. Mike doesn't like it. Schmittler does like it. Who cares? So what? Schmittler went and killed 6 million Jews. Mike doesn't like it. Not a big deal. Hold him accountable. You can't hold him.
I can't stand this. I can't stand this. The reason why we know that Hitler was wrong is because the rest of us who live in a society with him are feeling certain ways that are negative against him. That's the point. It's not that difficult to comprehend that when you live in a world where the majority of people understand that these things are harmful to others, and we observe the people that Hitler caused harm to, that when we look at their faces, right, they're crying, they're being beaten, all these things, we understand that that's wrong. Why? Not because God exists, but because we have empathy, we have logic, we have brains, we have the ability to use our brains. Why don't you use yours?
Mike, you're missing my point. Okay, and under your assumptions, you can observe and have empathy and realize that you're harming other people. But at the end of the day, so what? If there's no objective, hold on, Mike, let me finish. Mike, let me finish, please.
What do you mean, so
Please.
what? It doesn't matter. So what? We care. That's what.
It matters,
care.
Mike.
That's all
That's
that
the point.
matters. That's all that matters is that we care as people. That's it. I don't need God I don't need to look up at your magic fucking sky daddy and go, am I doing good? That's stupid. I can think for myself. I don't need a normative basis to go by. We can go by reality. We can look at the real world and the real consequences to our actions. And we can use our fucking brains.
Okay, so answer the question. Okay, so answer the question, Mike. Okay, answer the question then. So what? So what if Stardust is hurting other Stardust? Why do you care? Give me a justification underlining other than your empathy and your personal subjective take on it.
Okay, listen, I explained this to you 10 times already. We care because we're conscious agents that can care. That's it.
It's inconsistent.
Now, if God exists, why do we care what God says? Why do we care what God says? Go. Can you answer that question now? Why do we care what God says?
Yeah, you should care what God says because you're made in his image and his likeness, and he created you.
Why does that matter? Why does that matter?
Why does it matter that he created you?
Yeah, why does that matter? Why care about that?
Okay, well, let's dig into that. What do you mean?
Why? Why do we care about God? Why do we care?
Okay, let's take like if you're genuinely asking, I really want to answer
Why do
this
we care? Why do we care if God exists? Why do we care about God? Why do we care?
because he's your creator, Mike, and he loves you.
Why do we care about that?
You should. I
Why?
mean, if you
Why?
don't want to, you
Why?
don't
That's your
have
subjective
to.
preference. It's subjective. Why do we care? Why do we care?
Oh, I guess you don't have to, man. But at least under this worldview. Hold
Thank
on.
you
At
so
least
much. He came to my life pretending he had some objective morality. I know everything about morality because I have a magic man in a fucking book of fairy tales. I win. I win. No, you don't. You're in the same boat as me. We all have subjective morality. It's just that I have the balls to admit it. You don't. You want to sit there and pretend that you have a magic man that gives you morality. You don't. But nice try. All right, guys, get the next guest in here. Keep tapping. Subscribe to my YouTube. Follow.
Yo, hello.
Hey, what do you got?
Can you hear me? Yo, what's good, Mike? Your name is Mike, right?
Yeah, what's your evidence?
I mean, can I start out with just asking you a couple of questions? Is that cool? I mean, I'm
No,
gonna just go.
no, it's not cool. Can you give us evidence for your God?
Okay, so when you go to court, how there's witnesses. Witnesses are there to attest for things you didn't see yourself.
Okay. If tomorrow we held a court where 5 people claim they saw Spider-Man or Santa Claus, would you agree that Santa Claus exists because people said it in the court?
I mean, if 5 people said it, I mean, then nah, because we understand.
Right.
Santa Claus is not real.
It's the same thing about
But it
eyewitness
depends.
testimony. It's not
Look.
eyewitness
I get what
testimony
you're
is
saying.
not good evidence. It's not good evidence at all, right? I don't care how many people saw Bigfoot. There's no reason to believe in Bigfoot, right? That's the problem. Eyewitness testimony has gives very little credence to a God. Now, more importantly, is that your only evidence?
No, but like,
Great. What's your best evidence?
no, we're still on that debate because that's my first it's my first evidence, okay? So basically, we know that Saint Nicholas exists, right? You know Saint Nicholas?
No, there is no such thing as a saint, but go ahead and give us evidence of God.
Okay, that's basically what I'm saying. Like, we know Saint Nicholas exists. We know Saint Nicholas is where the myth Santa Claus came from because of how he went around during like that Christmas.
I'm not talking about Santa Claus. I'm sorry. We're not.
Hey, yo, Mike.
Hey, what do you got?
Hey, don't mock me before I bitch slap you, my nigga. Hey, look, listen, bro. I don't know how many times you're gonna keep making these lives, bro. But like, bro, you need to get your shit together, bro. Cause goddamn, you need some holy juice, my nigga.
Oh, so do you have an argument or no?
Listen, bro. Why do you need evidence? I'm just so confused. Do you live your life 100% on evidence?
Yeah, that's the only honest way to live. And what
Okay,
do you live by?
so when people give you medicine, like you just take that shit, or do you like study it out, look it up, make sure it's legit?
There's evidence that medicine works.
Yeah, but how do you know that the pharmacist didn't poison you?
I take a look at the box before I put it in my body.
Yo, bro, it's called illegal substances. You know what those do?
Sarah, what is your point here?
Yo, bro. Yo, bro. I hope you know they can put shit in a box and it can be completely
Okay, so
what
what?
the box
I understand.
says.
When I take pills, I understand that there's a small chance that I
Yeah.
might get poisoned.
That's what I'm
not
saying.
relevant. That's not relevant to the fact that God doesn't exist.
But I thought you said you live your life on 100% proof.
I never said proof. I said evidence. Evidence is not proof. There's a difference.
What is the difference, like, exactly?
Proof is absolutely conclusive. Evidence is what hints to something being true.
Yeah, you talking a whole bunch of bullshit, my nigga. Hey, ain't you a vegan?
Yeah, this person has the IQ of a fucking cockroach. No, there's no faith involved. There's evidence that when I go to get medicine, it's not going to kill me, right? There's reasons to believe it's not going to kill me because it's very low chance of it happening.
I don't want to talk about
always
the
understand
medicine.
there's a small chance of it happening. Hey, what do you got?
Hey, I don't want to talk about the medicine that I don't know what he was on. Let me ask you, Do you believe in things you can't see?
What do you mean see with my eyes?
Yeah, do you believe in things that you can't see with your eyes?
Yeah, I believe in like Pluto. I can't see it with my eyes because there's evidence for Pluto.
But I mean, you physically haven't seen it though. You have been told by people
Yeah,
that it's there.
I haven't seen it with my eyes, but I have evidence for Pluto, right? We can take a look at telescopes. We can take a look at things like that.
Okay, well, you can look into the Bible and read through the Bible. Have you read the Bible at all?
How old are you?
I'm 24.
Wow, okay. Yeah, the Bible's garbage, right? Like talking snakes, talking donkeys, it's nonsense, right? I'm asking for real evidence of God, not some book of fairy tales.
That's the book of God is the evidence that we have of God. I don't understand.
Okay, how is the
If
Bible
you're gonna
evidence?
completely dismiss an entire piece of
Okay, how is the
like
Bible evidence of a God? How is it evidence?
mm, it's through spoken. It's been spoken through generations. I mean, religion. There's multiple different religions. Christianity is one of the oldest religions, not the oldest, but one of the oldest
Okay,
religions.
no, Hinduism predates
So
Christianity. But go ahead and give us evidence of God now, because it seems like you're just babbling.
in the Bible,
The book with talking donkeys, like
this,
like a guy that walked on water and turned his body into bread like a muffin man. That's the big book of evidence.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like you want to be open-minded. It just seems like you're closed off.
Says the one who believes in things they can't see and use the argument against me about that. That's ridiculous. Did you see Jesus rise from the dead?
No, but I believe in it, which is what I'm saying, is you can
Oh,
believe in
okay.
stuff you can't
Great.
see.
So you have no evidence of this thing happening at all. You have zero evidence, period. You have a book that says something, right? You have a book that says there's a claim. That's not evidence. Claims are not evidence.
I mean, to each their own, but fair enough.
No, it's called honesty, right? It's called being honest. I don't just claim things and pretend I have truth. I verify them.
Yo, Mike.
Hey, what do you got?
Yeah, so previously you said that eyewitness testimonies aren't evidence. Could you explain why you think that is?
Yeah, because a claim isn't evidence. If I claim I saw, Santa Claus, it's not evidence that Santa Claus exists. I don't care how many people say it.
Do you believe that George Washington was our first president? Did you see him or no?
Yeah, I've been to his home. It's in Washington. Like we have his body, we have his grave, like we have his clothing, his teeth, his weapons, his documentation, his signatures, coins, sculptures, patriots. We have so much evidence for him. It would be stupid to deny he existed. But when
Yeah,
it
we have
comes to
that for Jesus too.
where?
In the Bible. Don't
Okay.
say that that's not reliable.
Okay, so why is the Bible reliable if it's literally a storybook from 2,000 years ago, which we know is garbage?
The scientists all claim and say it's a fact that Jesus really lived, whether they're atheist or Christian.
Okay. I don't really care about a guy who died on a stick. I care about evidence for a God.
Okay, well, these eyewitness testimonies that you say don't mean anything. Why would they lie about something where they would be killed for it? They were killed for saying these things.
No, that's actually not true. But more
Yes, it is, Mike.
Okay, great. Then give the evidence that they died for Jesus, which there is none. But more importantly,
They were crucified just like him. They were on the run from the Roman law.
Sir, you begged the question. The first thing you said was, why would they lie? Well, that's begging the question that they lied. What if they actually believed that Jesus was real or a God, but they just were mistaken in their belief, right? Like perhaps Muslims who pray to Allah and they die for their belief in Allah, right? They're not lying. Does that mean Allah is real because they died for their belief in Allah?
These eyewitness testimonies from the New Testament, they had no reason to lie.
I
Their
never
lives
said
were
they
on the line.
lied. I never said they lied, sir. Did you listen to what I said?
What are
They
you
could be
saying? Say it again.
mistaken in their belief. They could be mistaken. Maybe they were believed in the wrong thing. Maybe they were delusional, kind of like you.
So you just believe like in the Big Bang, like, something exploded and a creation happened. You ever seen something explode and, something be created, or do you see destruction?
Okay, let me set this straight. The Big Bang was not an explosion, okay? Just stop saying that. The Big Bang was not a fucking explosion, okay? It was an expansion of space-time. And it's not an explosion where things go like that. No. All the space is expanding. We're still fucking expanding right now, okay? The idea that there has to be a God because I don't understand the Big Bang is a ridiculous thing. Give us evidence for God and then learn the fucking Big Bang.
Yeah, so where did the energy and the matter come from to, make the Big Bang happen?
Okay, how old are you?
21.
Wow, okay.
Wow.
The energy, there was no energy outside the Big Bang, right? The energy was always there, it was conserved. There was no energy being made or produced at the Big Bang. It was just expanding, right? This energy was pre-existing and expanding. That's it.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything that's going to change your mind. I think that you mute people when you're in the wrong.
Evidence. Give me evidence. Give me evidence. Give me evidence.
All right, I try. You don't listen, bro. You never will. Have a good one, brother.
I'm listening right now. Oh, you left? Okay. Excuses, right? Excuses. I'm listening. Give me evidence. But you shit the bed, right? You missed your shot. Maybe because there is no evidence. Someone just said he got me. Hey, what do you got?
So like when you said that like George Washington
how old are you?
14.
Yeah, we can tell. All right, have a good day. Enjoy Barney. Hey, what do you got?
Hey, you're the evidence. You're the evidence God exists.
Me?
Yes,
No
yes. Living, breathing you.
Okay, so if I stop breathing, does that mean God doesn't exist?
Oh my God.
I'm not breathing.
Oh my God.
God debunked.
I'm gonna kill myself.
I just debunked God, guys. I stopped breathing. All right. Hey, what do you got?
You're live.
No. Okay. So, hello?
Yeah, you're live.
What if you don't believe also that God maybe also made people like what if I also what's a better way to explain this? What if I made everybody believe in me, don't you think what if if I made everybody believe in me, that means that all right, so look, let me explain this better. I got it now. God gave everybody free will. So if I made everybody believe in me, don't you think that I would never know who would challenge me or who would believe in me by blind faith?
Yeah, so I can say this for anything. I can say this for unicorns, right? I can appeal to the same logic and say, well, the unicorn monster's out there and he doesn't show himself because he wants you to have faith in him, right? It's like I can say it for anything I want to. Like the spaghetti monster, poopy monster, penis monster. Like it's the same garbage.
Okay, so if I tell you that, all right, let's say I'm God, right? And I'm like, all right, I give everybody free will, right? But if I didn't give them free will like robots, then I would never know what they truly would want to believe in altogether. So I choose to have people like you out here on this earth.
Doesn't God know what I believe in before he makes me?
No, because he gives us free will. So it's kind of like a
So
wild card, like a
God,
joker card.
so God doesn't know the future.
He does know the future, but guess what? Like, you know, just like how you might know if you have I think what's a better way? Just like how you might know what cards you have in the deck, right? But if you draw 2 right now, you might randomly get any card. Like you're a wild card. Like he knows it's like multiple realities out here for him in a way. He knows everything, but you're like a wild card basically. Like you can change your reality if you choose to.
How is that possible that God knows the future and that the future is set in stone, yet I have free will? It seems like there's a paradox there.
Yeah, like he chooses not to, like basically like if you know, like if you can go and you can see a movie, right? You can hear about the movie, right? But guess what? You could also go look up spoilers. You choose not to look up the spoilers, but you have the power to look up the spoilers, right?
That's not analogous because God knows the future. He has no choice but to know the future if he's omniscient. He doesn't
But if he's
choose to not know
all-powerful,
something.
if he's all powerful, then he can also choose not to know the future too.
Then he's not omniscient. This is a paradoxical idea.
Oh man, you think so?
Yeah, it's literally a contradiction, right? If you know everything and then you don't know everything, that's your contradiction.
Let's say he knows everything, right? But he chooses not to know extra things. Like he withholds things from himself, basically. You don't think that's possible?
It's possible, but anybody can do that.
Okay.
That would make God omniscient.
Maybe God just was like, you know what? I want people out here to challenge me so I can have the people in my kingdom who believes in me by blind faith up here enjoying what's going on.
That's ridiculous. Like that's a ridiculous notion. Why would God do that?
Because if I'm a factory owner and I make everything the same way, then I would never know what would be an anomaly. Like I would never know, like, oh, you know what? Guess what? Like this. Okay, dang, man, it's hard to explain this way to you, man. All right, let's see. So basically, yeah, like I said, robots. If I just made a person,
So first of all, you're assuming we have free will. We don't have free will.
What makes you say that?
Everything we do is determined by actions from our external world, right? Everything I think about is determined. I don't choose my preferences. I don't choose to exist. I don't choose to be here. I didn't choose to be born. We don't choose anything about our external world. How do we choose anything freely?
I mean, we choose what we put in our mouths, like, you know, like food.
Yeah, but that choice is determined by our preferences, our mind, right? Our brains determine that.
So you feel like you're trying to say like we're a product of our environment, basically.
Yeah.
Like basically I was put here and my environment is the reason why I like specific A things,
Exactly.
B things.
Exactly. That's what it seems to be.
Okay. I digress.
All right. Let's get someone serious up here.
Oh shoot. Okay. Didn't think I'd get chosen. So what are your personal beliefs about the world?
I believe in facts. That's all I believe in. Do you have evidence for God?
I do have evidence for a higher power, so I want to bring it back to the Gospels. I know you said, and you were right about that, anybody can write a historical point of view and make stuff up. But something about these disciples of Jesus that walked this earth 2,000 years ago was they claimed to see an event, and that was seeing Jesus after he died on the cross. And that's what makes the difference.
No, it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a damn difference. You have people that claim they saw something in a book. It's in a book. You have no verified accounts of this. The Gospels are not eyewitness accounts. They're not contemporary accounts either. The Gospels come decades after Jesus died. There are no eyewitnesses to the resurrection except for one claim in Matthew, which, by the way, the next verse after says that many people resurrected, which you don't believe, probably. So why the fuck do you believe in Jesus resurrecting when there's nothing to show for it?
Because there are over 5,000 manuscripts.
I don't care how many fucking manuscripts you have. They're just words on a fucking paper. I'm asking for evidence that there is a God, not a document that says it.
Okay, and you believe that there's a possibility of the universe itself being eternal?
Of course there is. Why is it impossible for the universe to be eternal?
It's not impossible.
Okay, great. So what's your point?
Well, my point is that any reality could be possible, but it's just a matter of, based on the universe that we've examined, what about it is eternal? Like, what points to the universe itself being eternal?
Well, the fact that energy cannot be destroyed or created, it's always conserved in every experiment we've ever done. The fact that space and time are clearly very large and they could go on forever. We don't have evidence per se, but there's reasons to believe it's plausible. Now, I'm asking you for the last time, what's your evidence for God?
I don't know, man. You got me there.
Okay. Next time, come up with better reasons.
Yo, what's good, man?
What do you got?
So I look to not only everything that is created needs to have a creator. I look back to many of the great minds for the past few centuries, and some of the smartest people that have ever lived. They all believed in some sort of higher power. So I'm confused why you think that's not the case.
Because I don't give a shit about who was smart, who believed in God. I care about evidence and data and facts. I don't care if Einstein said there was a God, he never did. I don't care about Newton. I don't care what they say. I don't appeal to authority, right? I care about the data and the facts. Do you have any data or facts for God?
Do you have any? It's a two-edged sword, because you're not providing. Like, my question to you would be, how is something created from nothing when there would need to be something that was ultimately?
I don't believe that. That's a straw man.
I mean, I don't agree, because that's the basis of everything we stand on.
No, it's not. There's no science that says everything comes from nothing. That's what you believe.
You said everything comes from nothing? That's not what I said. I said everything comes from something.
Okay. So what's the quarrel? What's the problem here? I agree. Something comes from something. What's your point?
That is God. That is a higher power.
Why does it have to be God? Why can't it be like the universe itself?
Because the universe had to be created by something more powerful than we can even understand.
Why? Why did it have to be created?
Because nothing just comes into existence without.
We just got done with saying that the universe could be eternal. Why must there be a creator if the universe could be always there?
Because it can't be always there.
Then how can God always be there?
Because it's different than like a higher power. I'm not talking about just a higher power in general.
Blah 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 blah. Why can't the universe always be there?
Well, would you consider then your universe could be defined as God in those terms?
No, God doesn't have a mind. God doesn't care about morality. I'm sorry. The universe doesn't care about morality. The universe doesn't care where you put your pee-pee. The universe doesn't care about you. So that's not God. Where's your evidence that your God exists?
So where does consciousness come from that
brain.
universe?
The brain.
How is that created?
Evolution. It's just neurons.
Just magic?
No, it's called physics, and it seems like you don't know what that means, right? So there's something called biochemistry, which allows us to understand how neurochemistry works. Neurons interact with each other through synapses. They yield your electrochemical signals, which are brain waves, and those are thoughts. And these thoughts can work in systematic ways, which then yield logic and rationality.
Okay, I have one final thing I'll go back to.
Okay. Come back when you got a better argument. Hey, what do you got?
You're ugly as fuck, nigga.
Oh, God's love, the Christian love, isn't this, right? Jesus loves me.
What?
What? Are you Christian? Christian
Yeah.
law?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. And
Yeah.
why?
Imagine Jesus coming back 2,000 years. All right, what do you guys do? Pumpkins, you're a Christian? Yeah. What'd you call Mike? I called him ugly. You're going to hell.
All
Hey,
right,
what do
all
you
right. So, at what point do you think to yourself like how much science is too much science, and some things are just unexplainable, and it's not worth digging into before you realize like you know what, there is a humble side of me that I do have to come to a point where I don't understand everything, and
No,
things
no, no, no.
were
That's
created
not
purposely.
that is not humility. True humility is when you recognize that you don't have the answer and you're willing to concede to that fact. What
Okay,
you're doing is
right there, right there.
definitely
Let's
not
stop right there.
humble.
Stop right there.
You're not
So,
humble. No,
so
you're
would
not
you
humble.
say
No,
you
no,
fear
no, no,
death?
no, no. Listen, listen.
Would you say
You are not humble for saying that God exists. Trust me, bro. That's not humble. Humble is when you recognize you don't have the answer, not when you pretend you do have the answer. That's not humility. Okay? So you're the one who sits there and thinks everything was made for you. The universe was made for me. It was designed for me. There's got to be something out there. It's got to be. It's got to be. That's not humble. Whereas scientists are fucking humble because they recognize that they don't have the answers and they're after the answer. And they recognize they don't have all the answers like you think you do. Now go ahead and give me evidence of God now.
that's just it's just a bad argument because you're saying different things at once. So at what point do you realize like okay, let me ask them, do you fear death by itself?
No, I don't fear anything
Okay,
except
that's
for
bullshit.
ignorance.
That's completely bullshit. Okay, what do you consider death?
Your cells stop functioning. Now,
Okay,
what's your
so
evidence for
do
God,
you
sir?
lose consciousness?
Yeah, you lose consciousness. Now, can you give evidence for God?
Now, do you have evidence that you lose consciousness?
Yeah. Have you ever went to a fucking funeral? Have you ever tried to talk to somebody in the casket? They're
You
not
said
conscious.
yourself in the beginning of this conversation, energy is
They're not
conserved. It doesn't
conscious, right?
disappear.
They don't talk to you
Energy is
back.
conserved. It doesn't disappear. Right.
Okay.
So what is your evidence that you lose complete consciousness?
There has
You
been
can't you
no
can't you can't
cases.
smile and laugh
There's
like as
been
if
no cases
because
where anybody
you're
has come
asking
back from
questions
the
that
dead.
don't have any answers.
I can't do this. There have been zero cases in human history where somebody comes back from the dead. They're in the casket. They have no heartbeat. They have no brain activity. And then they get up. Hey guys, I'm alive. That never happened. Never. Okay. That's why I don't believe in God. Okay. There's been one, Jesus. How old are you? Okay. When you get to high school, you'll learn how how the Earth formed. Okay, it's called geology and planetary cosmology. Whew. All right. Um, I don't believe in science. Science is a methodology, not a belief. Guys, please understand the difference. Science is a method. It's a tool that allows us to test reality, see what happens, right? Um, Faith is just a belief. You just believe in God. That's not a method to me, at least in any significant way. Hey, what do you got?
So I believe God is real.
Congratulations. What's your evidence?
So the scientists long ago, they have proof that there's one day missing. There's one day missing. And in the Bible, it talks about it. It says that there was one day where everything stopped.
The day the world stood still. That was a great movie. That was a great movie, man.
Yeah, it was a pretty dope movie.
Okay. Do you have any actual evidence of God, or are you just gonna troll?
Our existence, I guess. also faith, you know. So it's all upon opinion. If you believe,
Okay. Have a good day. We exist, therefore God. That's a great argument. That's a good argument. How was the universe created? It wasn't created,
Hello, hey, can you hear me?
unfortunately.
Yo, hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, unfortunately. What do you got?
Yeah, so you believe like, yeah, we're smart. Humans are like really smart beings, and like we could talk to each other through this phone, bro. Like you probably live in a whole nother state than me, right? Why can't scientists bring people back to life? Why can't they? No, seriously, it's a serious question. We can build rocket ships. We can do all that around the world.
Because
Why can't we bring
it's
people back
not
to life?
because it's something we don't understand yet, right? At one point, we didn't know how to make a call, right? It's called learning, right? It's called learning.
But my phone can transmit a text message to China to somebody's phone from a satellite, but we can't
Okay,
bring a
that's
person's neurons from their
yes,
brain back.
and that endeavor is way more simpler than bringing somebody back from the dead. Okay, that's a very different task.
And like you think about like a lot of physicists that do what's it called quantum mechanics and stuff. They talk about different dimensions. You're telling me you don't
Yeah,
think there's a
what's your
another
point?
dimension where there's
What's
no
your
space and
evidence of
time?
God? What is your evidence of God now? Please.
What's your evidence to evolution?
I don't know, the fossil record, DNA evidence, I don't know, lab experiments like Richard Lenski's in the 1980s where he took bacteria and observed their
So where,
speciation in a lab setting.
where did,
What else do you want?
so you believe so you believe humans came from apes?
We are apes. We're apes right now. We're fucking apes right now. Go learn some science.
So listen. Okay, hey, listen. Be fucking over here screaming shit. Hey, but listen. So if we came from apes, so you think we evolved from apes, right?
We are apes right now. You are an ape. I'm an ape. We are apes.
So why the fuck is there still chimps? If we evolved, did them ones not evolve? Were they stupid?
All right. Let me
Were
explain
they
this to you.
stupid? Did they not
Let me
evolve?
explain it to you. There are several apes in the world: chimps, bonobos, orangutans, gorillas, and humans. These are called great apes, okay? And every ape goes through different evolutionary pathways. We took one route, okay? We're one branch on the tree, okay? There's other branches on the tree, okay? So just because our branch exists doesn't mean that the other branches don't exist.
Bro, you sound crazy as hell, bro. You sound crazy.
How ironic. The one who's uneducated sounds doesn't sound crazy, but the one who is
Bro,
uneducated sounds
if you
crazy.
think you're so smart, why the fuck don't you put shampoo in your greasy ass hair, bro? That's what smart people usually do.
I love how quick people just resort to just give evidence in God. Hey, what do you got?
Hey, what's going on, Mike? I'm happy to talk to you. Gotta let you know I couldn't go full vegan, but I became a vegetarian based on some of your videos. But on the topic of God, I believe you're wrong. So my evidence to it,
Congratulations. Give evidence of God now.
so evolution. Yeah, so okay,
What
so to
about it?
explain myself, I mean, as far as physics and as far as we understand everything, you believe time might be infinite. So in this infinite time scale, we can't believe that we're the only things to evolve, or the only time anything has evolved.
Okay.
I mean, there's
And
infinite amount of knowledge. Like you said, there was a moment we didn't know how to make cars. I do believe something out there at some moment knows everything, knows all.
okay, where's your evidence for this all-knowing man and behind the curtains like the Wizard of Oz guy?
Well, like I said, I mean, We don't understand time, but we know time flows. We know is one of our
Well,
dimensional
no.
planes.
So time seems like it flows. It's perceptual, but what's the point here?
Yeah,
Where's
yeah,
your
yeah.
evidence for God?
Well, it's just the time flows. So we're in a moment in time. There is a future. There is.
Hear that, guys? Time proves God. It's 9 o'clock. Well, in an hour, it's gonna be 10 o'clock. That means God's real.
Ain't gonna Kevin got this big ass dick on my head, stroking my shit with massive fish in your face, nigga. You ugly. Say, look, beat up my dick right now.
Remember when I was a Gen Z kid? Remember when I was a little kid? Go watch Barney, buddy. Subscribe to my YouTube, by the way, link in bio. For all I post all my debates on YouTube. Subscribe, keep liking. Hey, what do you got?
Oh, what's up? The audio changed. I was a little confused. But I have a belief that I want to break down, right? Because I stopped believing in it. I got to the point where I stopped believing in God. But I used to really rationalize things. So I'm
Great,
gonna
great,
break down.
fantastic. That's great. Now, where's your evidence for God?
Yeah. Okay, hold on. So the way that I rationalized it when I was younger, it was that because we are made up of cells, right? We either came from something that had consciousness and created us, or it was a bunch of systems that didn't interact through knowledge, but they just create stuff. So after like a lot of different rationalizations, my proof for God fits in recreating each other with a similar purpose as everybody else. And we don't have to know the purpose, but we'll continue doing it because of the systems that force us to stay doing all of the things, like needing food, needing water. Like I rationalize.
All right, I had enough of that garbage. All right, next. Next. Whew. Hey,
Man,
what do you got?
shut up, yes, motherfucker. Fuck you like the fucking ducky, you know that fucking motherfucker.
That's Christian love for you. Hello?
Hello. I just wanted to say subscribe to NH Core on YouTube. Can we do that? You simp, what the fuck are you looking at?
Have a good day. Don't forget to take your pills. All right.
Oh, can you hear me?
Unfortunately. How old are you?
Old enough? Hey, I have a question.
Really old enough? How old are you now? What age are you?
15.
We can tell. Next. Hey, what do you got?
Hello.
What do you got?
I have a question.
What? Hurry up.
Can you hear me?
Unfortunately, we can. Now, can you answer can you give us evidence for God, please?
Yeah. The evidence I have is um like we call God our Father, which means he provides for us. He take care of us.
Okay, and I believe in a big mommy, and she takes care of me, and I breastfeed from her. She has big
bazookas. Who cares
That's
about
that.
what you believe? Give us
That's
evidence
that.
for God. Give us evidence for God. Give us evidence for your
That's the
God.
that's
Please,
the
hurry up.
that's the that's the evidence. You
Okay,
have
yeah. Have a good day. I'm praying for you that Big Mommy helps you out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. What do you got?
I think the same way we don't know what creates love in our hearts is the same way there's God.
We do know what love is. Love is just a chemical process in the brain. It's just like chemistry, right? You probably failed in school.
Yeah, I think I failed in school because I can't. Can you prove it? Can you point me to a source where I can learn about what the chemical reaction is?
Sure, we have an entire field of science called neuroscience that demonstrates how dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin in the brain actually give us these experiences of feelings in the limbic system of the brain, right? So, is this your only like evidence for God, or do you have any
Yeah,
other
I
evidence?
think I think I think that same way we can explain those emotions is the same way we can explain or prove
Okay.
that there is God.
So
So,
what if if we could explain those things with
mhm.
like physics, would that mean God doesn't exist?
If you point me to those, I'm willing to learn.
Yeah, so if I gave you studies that says that neuroscientifically that love is a chemical reaction,
Yes, yes, then I'll
would you
believe
stop
that there's
believing in
something.
God? You would stop believing in God.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I
That's a
I I
W. That's a
think
W.
love that I think the feeling of love is unexplainable. I didn't think there's a source for it till this day, so thank you for teaching me.
Yeah, go
And I'll
learn.
go do some research
I
on that.
I could definitely send you some studies if you like, but let's get to the next guest. I don't really feel like I don't feel like being Bill Nye right now, right? Like I wish I could, but I got, you know. Hey, what do you got?
Um, so like, can you hear me?
Go watch Pokemon, buddy. I think it's on right now. I think Pikachu's fighting Bulbasaur. Hey, what do you got?
Hi, Mike. How are you doing? I
Uh,
was wanting to ask you a question. I'm Scottish and I married an American lady and moved over here about 9
Hey,
years ago.
congratulations, sir.
And
Congrats on the wedding. Can you give us
yeah,
evidence for God
I
now?
find I no. What I wanted to ask you was, do you think there's a possibility, like the founding fathers? Most of the founding fathers believed that God was once real, but was not here anymore. What's your thoughts on that? I think it was called Deism.
Yeah, there's no evidence for that. Do you have any?
No, I was wondering what you thought about.
Okay, have a good day. People don't get that this isn't like Oprah, right? This is like a debate stage. Like we're debating. We're not asking me about my experience with God. Like okay. A couple more people. See what else we got. Hey, what do you got?
I've been on here before, but I just wanted to ask you a question. So I've been seeing a lot of these lives, and I'm just trying to understand why is it that you are trying to prove or trying to find proof of God? If you don't believe, what's the point?
The point is that I'm constantly looking for truth. I'm trying to look for what the answers about reality are. Plus, I care about society around me. I care about a world where we care about truth because truth helps us. It gets us tools. It gets us abundance, prosperity, drinking water, right? It gives us microwaves and refrigerators and phones. That's what science and truth can do. Faith does nothing but gives you a hopeful, wishful thinking, which does
So
not.
you once
So that's why I
believed.
care. That's why I care. So
Okay.
what is your evidence of God now?
Okay. So my evidence is what I have experienced, my relationship with him. I almost passed away actually back in 2017. I was diagnosed with sleep apnea. And I stopped breathing 116 times in an hour. Okay. And just to let you know why I believe is what I've been through in my life. My sister, which I shouldn't be talking about my life, but here we go.
Don't talk about her. Don't talk about her. Okay. So.
Well, anyway, my sister,
hold
there's
on.
a lot that's gone on with my family, health problems, this and that. And God brought me to my knees, literally. Like literally. Not in that, and literally.
Wow.
On my knees, praying,
Was he great?
calling out to him, crying out to him. Because let me tell you something.
You cried out
What's
to him?
gonna happen? No, let me ask you something,
Did you
Mike.
call his name?
Let me ask you a question.
Did you call his name?
What's gonna happen what's gonna happen to you? No, and I'm like you. I care about society and I care about people.
You're just like me.
I do. I care about people and I care about people's lives.
Great. So give us evidence of God, because I'm sorry, I empathize that you've died or you think
Almost.
you died.
Almost. Yeah.
Died. Okay, great.
So basically,
I'm happy you're here, but the problem is you have no evidence of a God. So what is the evidence before I kick you?
My evidence is me actually. This is my evidence. I'll explain. Let me finish. I had a cousin who passed away at 10 years old. No, let me finish. I was sitting, just let me finish. Please do not kick me off. I was sitting in my room, okay? And actually saw my cousin, 10-year-old cousin, on my bed. I didn't hallucinate, okay? I saw her. How do you explain that? Explain that. I was 13 years old. I wasn't hallucinating.
Okay. How do you know it wasn't hallucination?
Right? Probably wasn't. It was probably her. But you know what?
How do you no? How do you know it wasn't a hallucination or a dream?
How do I know it wasn't? Because I was awake. I was listening to my stereo.
Okay. You know that you can hallucinate while you're awake? You can have sleep paralysis.
That means, well, okay, how do you hallucinate? Go ahead and school me on it. What do you mean? How can you hallucinate while you're awake?
It happens to a lot of people. It's a known phenomenon. You can hallucinate while you're awake.
So you're thinking that I didn't actually see my cousin? Is that what you're saying?
There's no evidence that you did. That's the problem. The problem is you don't know that you saw your cousin. And I understand.
But what if you wake up tomorrow and you actually see God for yourself?
Great, fantastic. Show him. He wants to show himself. Great. But until that day,
are you going to say, no, I don't believe now? Because, I mean, that's your proof. When you actually see him.
If I told you that I saw Santa Claus on my bed, would you believe?
Well, hell, I mean, then that means you saw Santa Claus. Then he's real.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
I saw Batman.
What I'm saying, okay, it's not even the same analogy.
He's never going to be able to prove anything because anything he sees or whatnot is all going to be hallucination. He's bullshit.
That's my boyfriend. He's not a big believer, to be honest with you. He has to have proof too. But me and him have had.
I just can't. I just can't do this. One more guess, guys. My Christian threshold is at the limits. Like it's right there, guys. It's right there. Guys, I understand that there are things in the world that happen that we can't explain. I understand this. We live in a world that's mysterious, and things happen that we just don't understand all the time. But it doesn't give you the right to say that, oh, I think I saw my cousin, therefore God exists. That's the problem, right? I'm willing to believe you saw your cousin, but there's just no evidence for it, right? There's just no good reason to believe. And more importantly, many claims of ghosts and all these things, they tend to be hallucinations or sleep paralysis or dreams. And that's why we have to be reserved before we believe in these things. I'm willing to believe that there's something after life. That'd be great. But there's just not enough evidence for me or anybody if they're honest and rational. All right, let's get the next guest in here. Subscribe to my YouTube, by the way. I have all my debates there. I have lots of great videos on science, veganism, and other things, technology. Please subscribe, link in bio, and keep tapping. I got a video just came out today or yesterday about arguments against or arguments for God that are bad.
All right, so there isn't scientific evidence that God exists, but there is a scientist that did a study. His name is Stephen Unwin. He did a whole experiment. I don't know the parameters of it. I don't know what was involved technically. However, it was an attempt to disprove God. And his end-all result was there's a 67% chance that God actually does exist. And it doesn't mean it's the Catholic God. It doesn't mean it's the Christian God or a Buddhist God, but some form of a creator. And if you believe in the Big Bang Theory, which is a theory, not proven by science.
Okay. What's your point, sir?
That's my point. If you're looking, that's the only concrete physical evidence.
Okay, so let me explain how this is utterly preposterous. This is ridiculous. First of all, just because one scientist says something and comes out with a study that's not peer reviewed and has no mathematics in there that's actually been peer reviewed, we can't simply appeal to that guy, that person. That's an appeal to authority, right?
Yeah, I'm not asking you to.
In science, we base our beliefs on the consensus that the evidence brings us, right? The evidence is what drives consensus. If there's not enough evidence for something, we don't have to believe it. There's no good reason to believe it. So the same thing with this. I don't know what study you're talking about. I don't know who this person was, but go ahead, give us the study, give us the research. Plus, God is an ambiguous word. What do you mean by God, or a creator for that matter? What's a creator mean? These are words that don't mean anything to us in science.
Right. I'm not a scientist.
And thirdly, the thing you said was the Big Bang was the theory. Well, no, the Big Bang's a fact. In the event of the Big Bang is a fact. We can see the Big Bang happening today. It's still expanding. That's a fact. And I guarantee you don't know what the Big Bang means. It's not an explosion. It's not something from nothing. It's an expansion of space-time. So that's why your arguments are bad.
Okay, but what I did want to ask at least was, do you have proof? And I know what you're going to say. You're going to go right back to the Big Bang and things like that, but that's not. Do you have scientific evidence to disprove that there could potentially be a creator or something that put those atoms and the expansion of the universe there?
There's no need for that. And it could be a natural thing. It could be something like a quantum state. It doesn't have to be a God, whatever that means.
Right. I'm not saying it has to be God. I'm just saying.
Okay, well then I don't know. Well then I don't know what God is. I don't know what creation means. These are ridiculous notions. Creation?
No, it's not. It's not. It's not ridiculous.
Okay, great. So then what's a creator?
A creator would be something or someone, maybe even an entity, because God is obviously biblical, that would start something into its motion, put something into fruition, right? Like a creator, like a parent, creates a child, right?
Oh, okay. So you're talking about a causal mechanism?
Yes.
So in this sense, this could be like literally the Big Bang itself.
Okay, but
a quantum fluctuation, like okay, yeah, it doesn't have to be God. It could be a material thing.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say that the biblical God himself is the reason, but I'm saying there's a chance that there's a creation of of us. There is a chance of that. There's not a chance.
There's
You know
a
what I'm
well,
saying?
we know for a fact that we are assembled by particles. We're made of particles, and this is there's a natural reason for that.
Yeah.
I don't know what a God would do for you. I don't know what God does for this. It doesn't add any explanatory power.
Right, but what's the necessity to disprove him? Because you physically like
I
there's
can't disprove
scientists have been
something that
trying to for
doesn't
years.
exist. I can't disprove something that I can't even define. Right? That's the
Exactly.
problem.
Exactly.
No, it not
So if you're
exactly. You
asking
can't
people
define
to,
it. You can't define it either. You
I'm
can't.
not saying I can. I'm not saying I can.
So
But
you
what
don't
I'm
even know.
saying is
So
if you
then you
can't,
don't even know what you believe in.
I do know what I believe in. I choose, not by scientific evidence, but I choose to be a
Yeah,
Catholic.
and that's dishonest because you don't choose to believe in something. You base your belief on the evidence. The evidence decides for us, not me. I don't choose what's true. The evidence does.
Faith isn't dishonest. Faith's not
Absolutely it is.
dishonest.
Okay, great. So I have faith that God doesn't exist. Am I correct?
If that's your faith, then yes. You're absolutely correct. You're not being dishonest to
Wow,
yourself.
okay. I have faith that you don't exist.
That would be
Am I
incorrect because I'm
correct?
scientifically
Am I
evidence
correct?
here
I'm correct?
that I exist.
I have faith that you don't exist. Am I correct?
No, you're not correct that I don't exist because
But I have
of what
faith in
your
it.
argument is. You're looking for evidence.
But I
I
have faith
evidence
in it.
through science. I have evidence that I exist. I'm talking to you right now.
But I have faith in it.
Faith, yeah, faith is something that isn't proven. Faith is not something that's disproven either.
That's dishonesty, right? If you don't have evidence, if you have no proof, it's dishonest to believe in it. Period.
I disagree with you strongly on that. You can have faith to believe in what you want to believe in.
Do you recognize that there's no evidence for God, though?
I recognize there's no evidence that he's not real either. Yeah, or that he is. Like I agree with both.
So then you're dishonest because you believe in something with no reason, knowing
Yeah,
there's
that's
no
what faith
evidence
is.
for it. That's
What faith is.
dishonest.
I don't believe it's dishonesty. I don't believe it's fair to say that someone who grew up in a Catholic household and was raised.
That's even worse because now you believe it because your parents told you it's true. That's even worse. That's even more dishonest.
Hello?
Hey, what do you got?
Okay, so I'm not gonna come and give you like the scientific side of it, but I feel like because I've seen your lives on here a couple times, and I feel like you coming on here like every other day, trying to find evidence for God is proof in and of itself because it's in your human nature to have that thought and try to fight it so much.
I'm not fighting anything. I'm asking for evidence. The fact that you can't give any means that your God likely doesn't exist.
But why
right?
does
That's
that
the
matter?
problem. Because we live in a society that cares about truth, and we live in a world where people can use their beliefs to do bad things, right? That's why
Has any religious
not because
person
I'm running for God or I'm scared of God. That's ridiculous. That shows me that you don't know who I am or what my perspective is on the world. It proves to me that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm not scared or mad at God. I'm not mad at Santa Claus. I'm not scared of Santa Claus. There's no reason to believe in Santa Claus, just like there's no reason to believe in God, period. That's why I'm here, because I care about truth and you don't.
But who's hurt you? Like you say that our beliefs affect you. How has our beliefs affected you in the slightest, living in your first world
Are you
privilege?
kidding me? In my state, they're trying to take away abortion rights because the Christians in our government are trying to take away our rights to abortions. They're trying to take away LGBT rights in my state. They're trying to take away trans rights, women's rights. They're trying to take away science education in school, trying to put their creation inside of it. That's the
It's
problem.
actually the Western
How about
agenda.
the war? How about the war in Israel, right? That's because people think that the Bible has proof that, oh, it's my land. No, it's not your fucking land.
That's a genocide. That's a whole other
Yeah,
story.
that is sparked by the Bible, just like the Crusades and many other wars.
Dude, what Bible? It is Israel follows the Torah, and the Muslims follow the Quran. There's
Okay,
no Bible involved there.
same shit. The Torah is the beginning of the Bible. Same shit. The point
My
is that
point is this. My point is this.
your beliefs can be harmful. Period.
And don't you see how? So then, the idea is this: if you don't worship a god, you worship something, either yourself, what society tells
No,
you,
I don't worship
or
anything. That's a slave mentality. The idea that I have to worship something. No, I can just be peaceful and happy without a god. Why do you need a magic dictator to be happy or peaceful?
because what's the purpose? So if you were to die, then what? Like if there's no life after this,
If I
then
were to
what's the
die,
purpose
that's
to
it.
living?
So if I were to die, that's all that happens. People will forget about you and me, and that's it. Why the entire notion that you're asking me, where do you go when you die? It's egotistical and selfish to think that we go somewhere else when we die because we are owed it. We are owed an afterlife. We're owed heaven. We're owed reward. We're owed justice. Those are selfish thoughts. And I don't have those thoughts. I recognize that the universe doesn't care about me. Why do you insist that the universe must care about you?
And that's a depressing thought, like to recognize that you're just here and
It's
there's no
depressing
purpose
to
to it.
you, but
Like,
freeing to me because I'm not expecting these things to happen. I'm not expecting these things to happen. I expect nothing, and for that, I am free.
okay, but the idea that you have this obsession with God and that you want to come on here and always fight
I'm
it,
not
like,
obsessed with God. I'm obsessed with truth.
can I
And
ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? If somebody were to actually provide you like reasonable and logical evidence that God is actually real, would you believe in God?
of course, absolutely.
So you have an open mind, like you're open to
Yeah, give me evidence now. It seems you've been avoiding the problem the whole time.
Okay, well, I'm Muslim, and you talk about the Big Bang earlier in your life, and it's mentioned in the Quran that we created the universe. We, God is referring to himself. It's like a magisterial we, and we are its expanders. And there's a lot of other scientific evidence in the Quran that came from a man who was illiterate, who lived in
No,
the desert
so
1400 years ago,
yeah,
before any of this was proven by
So
science.
there's many. So first of all, that's a false statement you just made. The Big Bang's never mentioned in the Quran. It talks about the firmament. It
I
says
just gave you the verse. I literally just read the verse to you.
yeah, and if you actually read the context of the verse, they're talking about a firmament, as the Quran mentions many times in many verses. The firmament they thought was a solid dome around the earth that God put around the earth, expanded it over the earth. That's ridiculous. That's ancient cosmology. It's
What
been
about,
debunked
okay, I'll give you
thousands
another
of
one.
years ago.
Sure.
The Quran also says that stars can fall from the sky. That's nonsense. It says that Adam and Eve existed. That's nonsense. The Quran makes every claim it makes is wrong and terrible.
We don't know that for sure because science isn't up to date fully with all this information. But let me
Yes,
tell you
it
this.
is. It's up
Can
to
I give
date
you an
enough.
example?
Science is up to date enough to know that your Quran is ancient garbage.
There's a verse in the Quran, and I don't know the accuracy of this, whether I'm saying if this is true or not, but it talks about, I believe it was ants or a type of animal that communicate with speech. And for the longest time, that was believed to be an error in the Quran. And
Yeah,
then up until
ants don't talk English or language or human
I'm
language.
not sure if it was an ant or not, but up until 2007, they actually found out that that animal that was mentioned, you can look this up, actually does communicate through speech.
Ants can speak.
Again, I'm not sure if it's ants or not. I could be
You,
wrong.
you think ants can speak?
I believe what the Quran says.
Oh, so
And
if the Quran said that you can grape somebody, you would believe that too?
it doesn't say that. See, you make all these false claims and you
Well,
talk about context.
the Quran does say that you could beat your wife at 434.
See, okay, yeah, it was ants. The comments are correcting me. It was ants, and they do communicate through speech. And this was proven in a study conducted in 2007.
Great. Give me the study that says ants can speak.
You can look it up. I don't have the exact study, but it was proven.
Yeah, look it up. It's on Google. It's on YouTube.
You told me earlier that you're open-minded.
I'm not open-minded to nonsense that you're giving me. What you've given me is not evidence. It is claims, and is out of context claims. We have to do more digging. The claims you're making are surface level claims that most Muslims make. If you dig deeper, you realize that these claims hold zero weight. Because I guarantee you haven't read many of the verses of the Quran which are not right. They're not true. The ones I mentioned, like that you skipped over, you glazed over the ones I gave you. You didn't even critique the verses I gave you. But you love to push your narrative that God's real. Okay, we got 1.5 thousand people. Should I keep going or a couple more people? Everybody, please follow my YouTube right now. Follow my YouTube. Please. I'm posting more on YouTube right now, okay? I'm posting on my lives. I post every live I do, so you can watch it in full. I post science videos, atheist videos, religious videos, and I want to push that YouTube up, bring it up. My link is in my bio.
Okay, so First of all, just gonna tell you why I think God is an imaginary. Well, I've been challenging my faith for a long time, but in the past, I believe that God was real because I believe there was a certain type of being that was beyond space and time that would literally. And even though we shouldn't bring up the Bible and any because they're basically like you said, they're just claims. There are people all around the world who believe and are not.
Anybody know what? Hey, what do you got?
You're fucking retarded.
Okay, why? What's your argument for God?
Because you're fucking retarded.
Oh, is that the Christian love you guys talk about? The Jesus love? Jesus loved me, Jesus. You girls are all phonies and fakes. You guys pretend that you're the nice ones. You pretend that you have the objective morality. And you go around and causing mayhem on the planet.
Fuck you, bro. You're going to hell.
There you go. You proved my point. Thank you.
Hell Hitler, bro.
I'm
Hell
going to
Hitler is wrong with you.
imagine how amazingly loving that is. You're gonna burn. I love you, but you're gonna burn, right? That's ridiculous. This is so this is so embarrassing, right? Like imagine going around telling people that they're gonna burn. That's so sad. That's not love, right? Thank you so much for the gifts, guys. Really appreciate that. All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, what do you got?
Yes.
Hello? Okay. I think that's all for today, guys.